Right at the heart of Holy Week, there's this incredible puzzle that scholars have been debating for centuries. It's all about timing, calendars, and one of the most important moments in history, the Last Supper. So let's try and unravel this thing.
Okay, so it really all boils down to this one simple question. Was the Last Supper a Passover meal? Now, on the surface, you'd probably say, of course. But when you look at our most important sources, the picture gets, well, it gets really complicated. And that complication is what we're going to dive into.
That's right, the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are our primary sources for this, actually present timelines that just don't seem to line up. And look, this isn't some minor detail. It completely changes the context of Jesus' final days. So let's do it. Let's investigate the evidence together.
First up, let's lay out these two conflicting timelines.
And here is where the problem really jumps out at you. On one side, you've got the Synoptic Gospels. That's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They all present the Last Supper as a classic Passover meal, happening on a Thursday night. But then you've got the Gospel of John, and its timing suggests the meal happened before the official Passover even began.
This timeline really shows the clash, doesn't it? The Synoptics have the Passover meal on Thursday, then the crucifixion on Friday. John's timeline, though, has Jesus dying on Friday afternoon at the exact hour that the Passover lambs were being sacrificed in the temple. So, was Jesus celebrating Passover, or was he becoming the Passover lamb? That is the conflict.
So how on earth do scholars try to solve this? Well, let's dig into theory one, a different calendar.
So this whole idea hinges on a really interesting fact. Different Jewish groups at the time actually used different calendars. The official temple authorities, they were on a lunar calendar, but other groups, like the Essenes, used a solar one. So this theory suggests that maybe, just maybe, Jesus was following one of these alternate calendars, which would have allowed him to celebrate a real Passover meal before the official one even kicked off.
So, what's the evidence? Well, on the plus side, we know for a fact that these competing calendars existed. It's not a guess. Plus, the traditional site of the Last Supper is actually in Jerusalem's old Essene quarter, which is a pretty fascinating little detail. The main weakness, though, this theory pushes the Last Supper all the way back to a Tuesday. And that, well, that really disrupts the traditional flow of Holy Week that we're all so familiar with.
But here's a really powerful argument for this theory. It's what historians call breathing space. Just think about it. The Gospels record multiple trials for Jesus, first before Annas, then Caiaphas, then Pilate, then even Herod. Trying to squeeze all of that between a Thursday night arrest and a Friday morning crucifixion is incredibly tight. A Tuesday Last Supper, though, that gives you so much more plausible timing for everything to happen.
Okay, so that's the calendar idea. Now let's switch gears and look at theory two, which is all about a broader meaning. This proposal argues that the conflict isn't about calendars at all. It's about language. The idea is that in John's Gospel, the Greek word Pascha, or Passover, could refer to the entire week-long festival, not just the one Seder meal. So when the authorities in John's Gospel were worried about being defiled before eating the Passover, they might have meant the larger festival meals, not the Seder itself. The big strength of this theory is that it harmonizes all four Gospels. Suddenly, everything fits together in that traditional Holy Thursday timeline. Plus, it has support from super early commentators, like St. Thomas Aquinas. The weakness? You lose some of that incredibly powerful symbolism from John, that image of Jesus dying precisely as the lambs are sacrificed. It kind of suggests John might have intentionally shaped his timeline for theological impact.
All right, so we've got calendars, we've got linguistics, but why does any of this really matter? Why should we care about the exact day?
Let's just step back from the historical puzzle for a second. Because beyond the dates, what are the deeper truths that each of these proposals might be revealing? If you lean toward the calendar proposal, the focus really shifts to Jesus' authority. By holding Passover on his own schedule, he's not just following some old tradition. No, he's actually establishing a new covenant, one that is totally independent of the old temple system. The Paschal Proposal, on the other hand, puts the spotlight squarely on Jesus' identity. It preserves that incredibly powerful idea that his death isn't just happening during Passover. His death fulfills the Passover sacrifice. He isn't just celebrating the Lamb, he is the Lamb of God.
So after all that, what's the final verdict?
You know, these days, most scholars actually see value in both of these approaches. The Paschal Proposal is often favored because it keeps everything consistent with church tradition, but the calendar proposal, that remains a really strong historical hypothesis. The point is, both of them offer a unique lens to help us understand the story more deeply. And that really just leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Whether the Last Supper was on a Tuesday or a Thursday, the core events, the betrayal, the new covenant, the sacrifice, they all remain. So the real question for us to ponder is this: does knowing the exact hour change the ultimate meaning of the story? Or does the debate itself just make our understanding that much richer?